Hello, and welcome back to the true reality. Sorry for my absence, but they don't let you shoot podcasts in prison. And look, I didn't want to go to prison. I tried to escape, but they caught me and I had to serve my entire sentence. And this time, they held me for a year. As a guy who's being incarcerated, don't you dare hurt my feelings. You ever notice how sensitive prisoners can be? Don't sit on my cot. Don't speak about my mother. And the weirdest request of all, don't drop the soap. I get the first two, but if I drop the soap, nobody better not try no funny business. It's a simple mistake. I definitely don't deserve to be socially reprimanded. You know? And look, the soap is slippery. Why choose the slipperiest object and then demand your fellow prisoner adhere to some arbitrary condition? How about we're all locked up in here together and the man's already coming down on us? Why go down on each other?
But it's sensational.
Sing your heart out.
Get mad! Mad!
Be happy.
You have the right to remain silent.
Shut up!
Anything you say will be used against you. Against you. Against you. Against you.
That's the true reality. Sewing machines take more skill to operate than computers. You know, old ladies are smarter than incels, because old ladies know all these patterns. Incels think they know all patterns. Not only do old ladies know patterns, they actually use the patterns to make stuff and sell it at mall kiosks. Kiosks? Incels just want to use the patterns to never fall in love. Sometimes I feel like an old sports car, still in perfect condition, still with many years of service, and low mileage to boot. And I'm under a protective sheet in a garage, just waiting for spring. But spring never comes. The owner is deceased. Actually, I was on this move one time, and it was at one of these fancy old folks' residences, which was in a kind of high-rise building. And in the basement, they had all these beautiful old cars. And I asked the maintenance fella, well, what's the deal with all these cars? Do all these old folks really drive them? And he told me, no. Those are the cars of all the people who have passed away. And relatives just haven't come yet to collect them. Sitting on a park bench, I look up at the sky. And, oh, God darn, it's raining men. Guess I shouldn't sit so close to skyscrapers right after Canada loses the gold in hockey. What is sports? And why do we think about them? I thought by this point in history, we would have evolved past the point of practicing war. Or, well, guess not. You like that? That's my new saying. Or, well, guess not. All right, let's get into something, topical. Everyone loves topical. Everyone's hating on Suno. But look, some people are too disadvantaged to succeed in the music industry. And these songs, that these Suno enjoyers, as I call them, make, these songs won't be hits. We've heard them. We know they won't be hits. All they do really is brighten some mentally ill person's day. People making AI music isn't hurting anyone. But anti-AI making music people are really trying to hurt Suno users' feelings. So here's a fella, I found he's just having a good time making a funky alt rock jam. And, some of the comments are pretty, you know what I mean? Like this one, he goes, what is his real teeth color? Speaking of the Suno enjoyer, it's this fellow he's talking about how much he enjoys Suno, and these are these naysayers underneath attacking the fellow for just having a little fun. And one of the first comments is, what is the real color of his teeth? Because he has, nice shiny white teeth. And see, these anti-AI people just want to hurt you. I thought my teeth were white is the next comment, and then I saw another comment. Whitest teeth on the face of the earth. Look, I know what you guys are doing, okay? I'm privy. And I got to tell you, sarcasm is the lowest form of humor. I wish I could, flip off each next page. I haven't fucking engineered that part. I feel like I'm just going to clip this. It starts again, maybe from a closer angle. Look, some people were born in a gutter. And they can't climb high enough. Their social vernacular might be too crude for them to exist at the level needed to network with highfalutin types. I think if some starving folks can use Suno to make a popular song and then use the money for food, well, then you can't argue Suno is good. Even if the CEO is, I don't know, creepy fella or whatever, but people who hate on AI music are just whiny babies. I've watched almost all of their videos. And, the true reality about anyone complaining about anyone who complains about AI replacing them, hey, you never had it. And now you want to stifle everyone else so they also don't succeed. Hey, to all young musicians out there, do whatever it takes. And don't let some old dusty baby capitulate your efforts. For taking a shortcut. In the spirit of garage rock, bastardize their elegance. And slaughter their sacred lambs. I don't know if this is going to work for her, but... and in the defense of the innocent Suno enjoyers, I'm going to prove the negative Nancy's wrong and make a punk album that won't succeed when I put it out. As an MK Ultra enthusiast, isn't scrolling a ball. So I stumbled upon this wild place called Fermat, Quebec. They all live in one big building called The Wall. It takes the same amount of time to get there as it does to drive to South America. And the same amount of time to fly as it takes to fly to China. China and back. And I'm thinking of moving there. Because it has the cheapest rent in Canada. I thought Montreal did, but I think you can get an apartment in The Wall for around $400 for a one bedroom. You know what I mean? Sure, you got the be in there forever. But they just do Soviet experiments on you, and everyone has a good through the window. Like, I mean, they need a guy that stands there. I'm gonna need a guy that stands there and takes the page away. I'm like, did I drop the right page?
Yeah. Just Millie Rocket.
Well, I really thought when I got to Montreal there'd be more famous hipsters. But every streamer is just reviewing poutine or talking about the weather with Canada gloves on. Hey, stop talking about the weather. I can look out the window. And as far as I can tell, Montreal just has no famous people. I'm sure some of you are saying, why the hell are you even living in Montreal? Get out of Canada. Hey, the captain always goes down with the ship. I don't run. One of my mottos is every moment entertaining. EVE. Which is hard because some moments, might want to just scratch my head. And the easiest solution is to run around the room screaming. EVE. But what I attempt to do is harness the energy of a scream and transmute it into words. EVE. My goal is to eventually be able to throw an observer into a frenzy just by uttering. Like, time isn't real. Ah! Space isn't above. Ah! Grass is actually violet. Ah! And I'm like, EVE. Oh, God darn it. Who was Grizzly Adams, and why should he be remembered? Annika.
Well, so it turns out he was this wilderness man in the early 1800s who tried to be a gold miner, and then he went out to live in nature and ended up taming grizzly bears, but one of them actually attacked him and apparently ripped his skull and pierced a hole in his chest. They said the size of $1, and eventually he died. And he was remembered as Grizzly Adams.
So he was a real person? He wasn't just a character?
This was a real person.
And so he's sort of like, I think there's a guy like that who raised lions and at the end they ate him or something. He's like that, eh?
Yeah.
So he was friends with the guy for a while, the bear, and then at the end the bear stuck it in his back?
Yeah.
Is that what you're kind of saying?
Exactly. He had 2 bears that he named one who was a woman, Lady. Yeah.
So do we do that part or do we do it again? You think it's saved?
I think the beginning's saved, so just ask me. He was a real guy.
So he was a real guy, is what you're saying?
He was a real guy. And he actually did tame these grizzly bears and named one of them Lady Washington and the other one Ben Franklin. And, of course, you won't guess, Lady Washington or a female grizzly bear attacked him and killed him.
Oh, God darn. That's why you remember Grizzly Adams. On my tombstone, I want to say, better to have a heart of stone than a heart of sand. I also want there to be a speaker that plays Where Have All the Flowers Gone on repeat for all eternity.
Oh, no.
Where have all the flowers gone? Long time passing. Where have all the flowers gone? Long time ago. I wish I could think of less morbid topics, Maybe write a joke about butterflies. But the first thing you learn about butterflies is how short their fucking lives are. Everything's morbid. Look, I might bring up topics more than once. If I've touched on this topic before, well, I'll be filing a lawsuit from the past on my present self for copyright infringement. So I think we can all agree, Valhalla is hell. As you may know, Vikings rape and pillage, which is completely unacceptable behavior. And not only do they rape and pillage, they rape and pillage and murder, and that's an unacceptable trifecta. In hockey terms, that's a hat trick of evil. I don't know if you have ever heard of a blood eagle, but I'd say don't look it up if you haven't. Just take my word for it. Vikings are satanic devils. Ever since they fired off the Celeron Collider, is that what it's called? What is it, Celeron?
Halon?
I'm sure everyone knows what I mean. I haven't been able to wear white. Because apparently, this version doesn't know how to drink drinks. I was never a dribbler before. The Mandela effect hit me right in the mouth. I'm all for getting rid of cars and planes and going back to trains, trams, rickshaws, and Vespas. And you might be thinking, hey buddy, I'm going to kill you. To which I respond, don't shoot the messenger. And as a fascist, of course you do. And as I lay there in a pool of my own life force, trains, trams, rickshaws, and Vespa. And that's the true reality in 5, 4, 3, 2. Thanks, sweetie.